In this video we are going to talk about whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, and real numbers. It all started with counting, and when you count you always go with 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on in terms of, let's say, apples if you're counting, or if you're counting sheep, cattle, whatever that is, you start with 1 and start counting. Now, these numbers are called as whole numbers. Some say these are also called as natural numbers, but some others say no, natural numbers start with a 0, which is sort of, comparably a new invention of humankind compared to the other numbers. These numbers are called as natural numbers because they are found in nature. Then came the negative numbers. So if we start with negative numbers, we have to go the other way around to the left. So it goes like -1, -2, and so on up to infinity. So we call them as negative numbers. And altogether, these are called as integers. They start from negative infinity, coming through 0, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, going this way to positive infinity. We call them as integers. So on a number line, starting 0 here in the middle, the integers would look like this, with the uniform same intervals. These must be the same intervals, right? It's gonna go like 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, right? And then through the left hand side it's gonna be -1, -2, -3. Well, this is not very equal, but forgive me. So it's gonna be like that, 1, 2, 3 to the right hand side, -1, -2, -3 to the left hand side. Now, when you have 3 apples to share, then if you divide 3 apples into 2, so it's going to be 3 apples to divide into 2, you end up with 1.5 apples per person. So this, we call it as decimals. And if we'd like to write this number as 3/2, because we divide 3 apples into 2, then these are called as fractions, or in general, rational numbers. And in between, let's say 1 and 2, there are infinitely many fractions or rational numbers, as in there are infinitely many whole numbers, or there are infinitely many negative numbers. Still, we have gaps in between fractions, right? The number line is not fully covered yet, because we also have those numbers which we call as irrational numbers. These are numbers which you cannot write as a fraction, like, for example, √2, right? √3. You cannot write these as fractions, so these are called as irrational numbers. And altogether, rational numbers and irrational numbers make real numbers, right? So if we show this in a figure, it will look like this. So these are the integers. Integers are formed of negative numbers and natural numbers, or negative numbers, positive numbers, and 0. Okay, and then comes rational numbers. So these are fractions, decimals altogether, and they are bigger as a group of numbers than integers. Alright, and then comes irrational numbers. So these numbers cannot be written as a fraction or a rational number, let's say. So if a number is a fraction, then it's a rational number. If it is not a fraction, then it's an irrational number, like √2, √3, or pi, right? You know pi. and these are irrational numbers, and altogether rational numbers and irrational numbers form the set of real numbers. So these are the sets of numbers. Thank you.